Hello, in this video session, I'll be introducing you to African poetry. And the first African poetry that I'll be treating is Ambush, written by Gbemisola Adeoti. In this video, we'll be treating the content and the meaning of the poem Ambush. Also, I'll be treating structure used by the poem to drive home the message. I will also talk on the language used by Gbemisola to drive home the meanings embedded in Ambush, the poem. And also, I will also talk about the themes Gbemisola seeks to drive home to you, the readers, and also the poetic devices used by her to drive home these messages embedded in Ambush. And at the tail end of it, I will discuss and treat past questions from SSE, questions that are likely to come out and haven't treated from before. We'll treat it at the end of the video. The next video, I'll be introducing you to the poem itself. I will read it out and recite everything about the poem. Hello, in this video, I'll be reciting the poem titled Ambush, written by Gbemisola Adeoti, and it goes like this. The land is a giant whale that swallows the sinker, with hook, line, and bait, aborting dreams of a good catch. Fishers turn home at dusk, blue Peter on empty ships. All Peters with petered old desires. The land is a saber-toothed tiger that cries deep in the glade, while infants shudder home. The grizzled ones snatched their gods, their bayonets of tribulations, halting virtuous walk at dusk. The land is a giant hawk that cuts unceasing disasters. As it hovers and halts in space, the land lies patiently ahead, awaiting in ambush those who point away from a direction where nothing happens toward the shore of possibilities. So this is pretty much the poem. In the next video, I'll be treating the content and meaning from the poem Ambush. Hello. In this session, I'll be treating the structure used by Gbemisola Adeoti in the poem Ambush. The structure of the poem Ambush is that of 4 stanzas. Gbemisola actually shared these ideas in 4 stanzas, having equal lines. And these lines and these stanzas follow sequential order. The first stanza talks about the loss of opportunities in Nigeria. It talks about how Nigerians have lost the opportunities and all the investments and resources embedded in the land, Nigeria. And all these resources and all these investments, all these opportunities are actually swallowed up by giant whales, which is metaphorically used by Gbemisola to compare those that actually swallow these resources as politicians who hold the power and controls the resources in Nigeria. The first stanza highlights all these things faced by the people of Nigeria, the citizens themselves, both young and old. The second stanza talks about the young and old, how they fare concerning the situation of Nigeria in society. The young actually are afraid. They question these happenings in Nigeria, but they are afraid to agitate, to fight for a better Nigeria. And also the aged, the old people they've lost all hope. They actually have no courage to fight and for their rights, to fight for a better Nigeria, all because these giant whales, these politicians actually have power and they control everything in order for people not to question what they do. The last stanza of the poem talks about there's a ray of hope that is actually bestowed in the hands of a generation anew, in the hands of people not of this present, but people and children to come to take Nigeria into a better place offshore of where they are presently, and things are not actually happening. So it's of stages. These four stanzas are actually holds these stages and the lives of Nigeria in the poem. So this is basically the structure of the poem Ambush, written by Bimisola Adeoti. In the next video, I'll be treating the language and style used by her. Hello, in this video, I will be treating the language used by Bimisola Adeoti in the poem Ambush. The language used by Bimisola Adeoti is simple and clear. It is the diction that is simple and direct that actually explains what it wants to. It makes use of simple sentences and simple words that every average person can understand. There is a particular distinct thought for each stanza. The poem is made of 4 stanzas, and each stanza has a particular thought. Bimisola Adeoti also made use of symbolic words that actually create pictures in the minds of the reader from the book Ambush. She made use of such words as giant wheel, which is metaphorically used by Bimisola to compare those who are in charge of Nigeria's resources, which is in the presence of the politicians that control the government. We also made use of symbolic words as petered out desires. This petered out desire is symbolic and is an allusion that actually compares the frustration faced by Peter in the Bible as the frustrations faced by the citizens of Nigeria. He also made use of symbolic words as giant hawk. She made use of this giant hawk as a comparison of the politicians who hold the activities and the processes and Nigeria as a whole in their hands and glide in order to carry out their biddings only for themselves selfishly. So she made use of such words to drive home the message embedded in Ambush. Another thing in the language is the tone. The tone of the poem is that of lamentation. The writer laments on the situation of Nigeria. You will see this lamentation and the grief of the writer from the words used in the language of the writer in the poem Ambush. The writer laments of the situation, everything they go through, the things the citizens go through in the hands of these corrupt politicians in Nigeria. So she laments of this situation of Nigeria, of how they've misgoverned the situation, the society and the nation at large. So that's basically the language used by Bimisola Adeoti in the poem Ambush. In the next video, I will be treating the themes one can find in Ambush. Hello, in this video I'll be treating the themes embedded in Ambush, and I have about 5 themes one can find from the poem Ambush. The first one is social unrest in the country. This theme is actually obvious and very evident in the poem, whereby you see the poem paints a picture of Nigeria in a state of unrest, a state of disarray, a state whereby the country actually is heading nowhere good. The situation of the country is underdeveloped, the resources are mismanaged, and the citizens cry out loud for a change of situation. So this is a very evident thing, social unrest in the book, in the poem Ambush. The next theme is the irresponsibility of the ruling class. This is seen in as an evident theme whereby the poet paints a picture of the irresponsibility of the ruling class, those who hold the powers, the politicians who actually promised a better Nigeria after independence are actually irresponsible of these promises they've made. The irresponsibility of this ruling class, they exploit the masses, they exploit the resources found in Nigeria only for themselves. They neglect the development of Nigeria as a whole, only for the pockets and their families thereof. The third thing is the feeble resistance of the masses. This is seen whereby the young ones and even the aged, the old people actually lack courage to resist the way these politicians carry Nigeria and the way they rule only for themselves, the way they handle the resources embedded in Nigeria for their pockets alone. So they lack the courage and the boldness to resist and actually carry out a revolt against the government of this ruling class. The fourth thing we can find is the suppression of the people. The suppression of the people is seen in whereby the old people that can actually revolt, the old people that can actually stand against this government of the ruling class that is taking the country Nigeria to a place where nobody can actually think of, is seen in the hands of these old persons. They actually don't know how to go about this revolt because they are suppressed by the said politicians. They are suppressed by the military personnel. They are suppressed by their ways of living. They are also suppressed by the system of ruling in the country. The last thing one can find is the hope of a bright future. This is seen in the last stanza, whereby the poet paints a picture of a brighter future, but only in the hands of a new generation, the generation that actually has not come yet, and that is away from the present situation, that actually doesn't know the system of government, which actually is not nice or good to write home about, but has a vision anew for the country, taking the country to a better place from the present one where everything stands still. So these are basically the things one can find in the poem Ambush. And in our next video, I'll be treating the poetic devices used by Bimisola Adeoti in Ambush. Hello. In this video, I'll be treating the poetic devices used by Bimisola Adeoti in the poem Ambush. I have about 7 poetic devices I will be discussing here. The first one is personification. The poet makes use of personification to drive home about the message embedded in the poem Ambush. She made use of personification in the first stanza, whereby land is given the power to swallow the situation in Nigeria, and also land is attributed to be able to cry in the next stanza. All these things are attributes of human beings which are given to an inanimate abstract idea, the land, which is actually compared to Nigeria as a whole. Number 2 poetic device used is metaphor. Metaphor is seen in line 1, whereby the land is metaphorically used by a giant whale. The giant whale here are the politicians who swallow up the resources meant for everybody, but only for themselves. We can also see the metaphor in line 8, whereby the land is compared to as a saber-toothed tiger. We can also see a metaphor in line 14, whereby land also is compared to as a giant hawk. The next poetic device is allusion. Allusion here is the allusion to the biblical Peter in the stanza. The biblical Peter, who actually toiled through the night and couldn't catch a fish, is also seen as the Nigerians who have toiled over the earth and have not really gotten anything. The next poetic device is metonymy. Here you can find it in stanza 1 to 3. Land here is used to represent the bad leaders in the country and also the people. The land also embodies the attributes of Nigeria, the attributes of the people found in Nigeria. The next poetic device here is run on lines. Virtually all the lines in each stanza run on a line run into another. The idea of a line run into another. We see this enjambment, which is also called run on lines, in every bit of the poem Ambush. And the next poetic device is symbols. Here, the poet made use of symbols that actually create images and pictures in our heads. Words like giant whales, saber-toothed tiger, and even giant hawk. All these are symbols used by Bemisola Deity in Ambush to create the picture of what she wants to have in the minds of the readers. And the last poetic device used in the poem is alliteration, whereby consonants, initials of consonants in words go in line. You see that in lines 2, 7, and 16, whereby S, P, and H alliterates in these lines. So that's basically the poetic devices one can find in Ambush. In our next video, I'll be treating past questions from SSC. Hello. In this video, I'll be treating the past question gotten from SSC, precisely 2018, on Ambush. The question we have here is, comment on the mood of the poet in Ambush. Ambush portrays a society under siege, a society whereby things are not going well. The situation of the people is bleak. People are frustrated, people are disillusioned by the changes and the situation they find themselves. So this is actually portrayed in stanza 1, whereby everybody in Nigeria is frustrated by the situation they see. By the use of powerful imagery and symbols, the poet unveils his mood of despondency and lamentation. He laments of the situation of his people in Nigeria. The poet laments, and it shows in his mood of the choice of words she uses in the book. The circumstances of Nigeria is bleak, and there is actual no hope found in the citizens of Nigeria. The aged are not courageous to carry out a revolt against the situation they found themselves, and the politicians who actually control the situations. The young people are deprived of agitations. They are frightened because they are oppressed by the people in ruling. The situation of Nigeria, and seen from the mood of the poets, is that of hopelessness. The people are hopeless. They are desperate of a nation anew. They are also frustrated. So thus, the mood of the poet depicts that of hopelessness and frustration in Nigeria. So that's basically on how to answer such a question. I urge you to look up the advisory and key point session for better understanding of Ambush.